guys, we're working back on the Camaro Z28 chassis because it's just such a really fun chassis to work on, and it's looking really cool. So I figured I'm just gonna keep going on this one for a little while. And I just wanted to mention something. Now I'm installing the exhaust, and I took note of something. Now I don't know if it's just my kit, but I think that the exhaust on mine is just slightly warped, as when you try to glue down the mufflers in the rear here and then place this pin into its hole, which I had to enlarge, by the way, as let me give you guys a good look at that. Had to enlarge the hole because the pin was just a little too big for it, and trying to squeeze it through is just going to do more damage than good. So I just enlarged the hole a little bit and it slips right in and you can't even see it. Anyway, I lost track of what I was talking about. Now, in order to get the two mufflers to sit even in the rear, on my particular kit, don't know if it's the same on all of them, but just on mine, I'm saying, when I install the pin, the right side, actually the left side muffler, which is this guy right here, wants to pop up and won't sit flush with the chassis. So what I did was I had to super glue the mufflers down first. Then I'm going to work my way forward when installing the exhaust. And I'm going to have to install the pin here, glue it from the other side, once the super glue cures here so that they won't pop out of place. Then I'm going to go ahead and install the manifold flanges to the manifolds. One thing I did do, which I would like to point out, because I think it looks kind of cool, is that I added flanges to the ends of the manifold pipes, because I think it's going to look better with a flange on it than just the two pipes joined together with an obvious gap in the middle. So I think this is going to make it give it a little bit more of a realistic look. Whether it'll work exactly the way I want or not, don't know yet, because I haven't installed it and attached them yet. But I'm hoping it looks cool. So anyway, if you're building this kit, that's something to be aware of. Or, as I said, it might just be mine that has this warped exhaust, but if not, then just wanted to give you guys a little heads up on that. Even unfinished, I'm really digging the way this Camaro chassis is coming out. And yes, I know to all the purists, maybe it may not be 100% accurate, but I think it looks really cool. And really, it's a model. So, you don't always have to be 100% accurate, but it's going to be really cool to look at. Alright, we're going to keep going with this. Okay guys, now while this 64 GTO from Monogram is a really nice kit, and it's really nicely molded and everything is really crisp, there are a couple of things that we'll have to deal with. The exhaust system itself has a bunch of mold lines on it that we're going to have to remove before we can get to painting. Now that's going to involve scraping basically all the edges of the exhaust to clean it up and get all those lines out. Now, to do that, I'm going to be using my mold line scraping tool from Citadel, along with my hobby knife and a couple of sanding files. So let's start cleaning this up and see how much nicer we can make this part. I've also just started recording with my new camera this section of the video, so it may look better, may look worse. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with this camera yet. So let's get to it. Okay, now we're going to do a little test fitting of the exhaust and rear suspension assembly on the chassis, just to check our work. And if it's all looking good, then we can continue with the rest of the mold line removal. And right now it's looking pretty good. Fits really nicely. I'm really happy with this kit. Okay guys, we are doing a little more work on the 64 GTO now as part of Blue Build, and just want to give you a little update as to where we're at here. We've got all of these suspension components painted in their base coat of black. A couple of the items are in semi-gloss black and a couple in a high gloss black, because we're going to be doing all sorts of metalizing and detailing, and hopefully I'll be able to record it properly this time, because I kind of screwed that up when I was trying to show you guys how I do that on the Camaro. So we have here the full exhaust and rear suspension is all in, if we can focus in on it, it's all in gloss black. That's going to be where most of our metalizing work is going to go. All of the rest of the suspension components are in semi-gloss black. We're starting on some interior work now, and this is where it's going to get interesting. Now, when I first started this GTO build, if you go all the way back to the first episode, I said Mrs. Onyx Fiero would be picking out all the colors, and she is. So she's decided on her interior, and it's gonna be different. So I'm gonna try and see how I can make what she wants look realistic, and give her exactly the colors that she wants. And we're going to start that by changing the interior from gray primer to the red oxide primer, because hopefully the color she picked will pop more with the red underneath it than it will with the gray. So stay tuned, guys. This is going to be weird. But it's what she wants, and you know what she wants, she gets, because I promised I'd let her pick the colors. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Okay, we're going to get back to adding some primer. You guys don't need to watch that. And we'll be back with the next step. Okay, guys, now I'm going to be using all-clad polished aluminum. And I'm going to show you how I metalize the exhaust. I've already masked off the differential and its trailing links to keep them free of any of the all-clad paint. And with the base coat of the black on there, now I'm going to just start layering the all-clad polished aluminum paint on top of the gloss black. The gloss black underneath the all-clad aluminum just gives it a really nice shine that brings out the metallic luster. Now, the one thing you have to take note of when using these all-clad paints is the level of shine that you get will depend on how many layers of paint you apply to the part that you're painting. As you can see here, the first application of paint leaves a really bright shine, almost chrome-like. As a matter of fact, I think I like this more than their chrome, as you seem to get more of a really metallic luster that has a really nice shine to it. A little more than their chrome does. Their chrome is good though, but I think I like this polished aluminum a little better. Now, the way you change the tone of the metal is by layering it. The more layers you put, the duller you can make the metallic finish. So depending on what you're looking for, you may want to apply multiple coats in order to give you the luster of either a highly polished aluminum, or if you want to dull it down a little bit, you can have a very dull aluminum tone. And at some point that you keep doing, you can even make it look like tin. I mean, it's a really amazing paint. I really enjoy using it. So just check it out as I apply several layers of paint in order to bring the shine down to the luster that I'm looking for an old school exhaust system on this 64 GTO. Okay, guys, here's the finished product. I'm really liking the way this came out. It really does look like a metalized, actually looks like metal. I mean, I'm really happy with it. I dulled it down by laying multiple coats, and once I got it right where I wanted, that's where I stop. All right, guys, it's time for the world premiere of the color picked by Mrs. Onyx Models, which is no surprise if you've already looked into the color cup, into the paint cup on my airbrush. Yep, that's right. The interior's gonna be pink. This is what she wanted because, sometimes she really is just such a girl. But we're gonna do it. We promised, and we're gonna do it. So I'm going to lay down this pink from Tamiya over the red oxide primer because I think the red oxide primer is going to bring just enough of a darker tone to the pink that it doesn't look so toyish. And then I'm going to hope that she's happy with that, but she will have the final word. If she wants it brighter, then we're just going to have to make it brighter. So I'm hoping that we can get away with a realistic tone. But she's the boss on this one. So just hang out while I make these pink. Okay, guys, and here we have our first pink seat. Now we're going to get started on the second one, and then we're going to go and get the approval of Mrs. Onyx Fierro and see if this is pink enough for her. Okay, not pink enough, so we're going to brighten it up some more. Okay, guys, let's just keep going. Okay, we got both seats painted. So now it's back to go see the boss and see if this meets her approval. So wish me luck, guys, because every single time they just get brighter pink. Okay, guys, now that we got the exhaust all painted and it's fully dried, now we're going to start adding some weathering. We're going to discolor the metal a little bit just to show where it may have been heated up for bends or the exhaust tips where there may be a little bit of carbon buildup on it. For this, we're using all-clad burnt carbon, which is a really cool paint to show scorch marks or burn marks. And it shows where the metal may have been heated up and discolored, depending on how you use it. I lay it on really thinly. I spray more air than paint when I'm doing this. And I just build it up until I get the desired level of weathering that I like, or the desired level of carbon buildup that I want to show on the part. And I spray a little bit on the edges of the exhaust tips. I spray some on the corners of on the ends of the mufflers where they may have been welded together, and you see a little bit of scorch marks on the clamps that are on the pipes where you may have a little bit of exhaust leaking out, so you're going to see that they're going to be a little bit darker than the rest of the pipes. And basically just try to give it the look of a real exhaust and of the metal as it discolors due to the heating and cooling that the exhaust system goes through. Also, it ages it a little bit. I think just makes it look much more realistic. So once I'm done with using the all-clad burnt carbon, then I have my all-clad, I think it's called, what is it? hot metal blue, I think it is. And if I remember, I will put the name of the paint up on the screen here. I've just got to remember what it is, and I don't right now. So you'll see it later if I don't forget to do that. Anyway, all right. Now we're going to lay that blue over the burnt carbon just to give a tint of blue to the metal where the discoloration would have been, where the heat would have discolored the metal enough to turn it a little bit blue. So we're going to start with that right after we're done with the burnt carbon. And you're going to see the full effect at the end of this. Trust me, it really does work, even though I may not have explained it in a way that makes a lot of sense. When you see it, you'll understand. So we're going to go ahead and paint all of this, and you'll see exactly how it ends up. Now remember, you have to spray very, very lightly. Just build it up very, very slowly because you only want to show the metal. You don't want to paint the part. You just want to have a slight dusting of the paint on there so that it looks as if the part itself has changed color. So let's go get this done and we'll see the end result. Here we have the final result of the work that we've done in this episode here. Let's zoom you guys in a little bit closer so we can get a good look at all the effects that we have here. Here you can see all of the heat stained effects, the carbon staining all over the entire exhaust. You can see where there is some changes to the color, where all the bends in the pipes are, where the clamps and everything bolt to the mufflers. You can see some of the heat staining on the mufflers, and if you look really carefully, you can see the very light discoloration where it you can see the hint of the blue that I sprayed on there. That's the all-clad hot metal blue, I think it's called. So it really gives it a very realistic tone along with the burnt carbon. You can see I used a similar effect on the gas tank to really bring this chassis to life. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at it along with the Camaro chassis so we can do a quick comparison of how these effects really transform the chassis, along with a bit of weathering, a little bit of shadowing. Really brings them to life. As you can see, all the details just pop all over the car. I'm really happy with the way these two came out. You can see the two distinct blues for each individual car. Now we just have to build front suspension, rear suspension. The differential, I know it's a very glossy black, that will be toned down with a semi-gloss coat just to take some of the shine off of that. And we're going to keep going with this build. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at the final pink that met Mrs. Onyx Model's approval. This is the paint that she decided is going to work for her. Now we have probably about 6 or 7 coats of the Tamiya pink on it, and as you can see, it's got a very high gloss to it. Now we're going to tone that down with a little bit of semi-gloss top coat after we add the second color to the interior, as it will be a two-tone interior. Here you can see on the other seat where I started the masking, all the pleated parts of the seats are going to be where the secondary color is painted. And we're going to surprise you with that secondary color. As soon as I get it on there, you guys will go with me step by step. And then we will go back to the boss and get her approval again as to which color or what shade of the secondary color is going to meet her approval for her card. Okay guys, we're going to call it a wrap on this video, and we'll be back with a lot more interior stuff and finishing off the chassis in the next episode. So remember, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the next episode, because these two are coming out really cool. And I'll see you on the next.